Tonight, a plea for better end-of-life care.
People in Manitoba are waiting for a bed that doesn't exist, a hospice bed that doesn't exist.
A local family learns the hard way how many others are in line for only a handful of hospice beds. Also tonight, steady as it goes.
I think this year we're ahead of the game, actually.
A look at where Winnipeg road construction stands as the season nears its end. Plus, for whom will the bell toll?
It really is an important part of our history.
With the redevelopment of Portage Place Mall underway, what's going to happen to its iconic clock tower?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A plea for change tonight from a Winnipeg family as their grandmother waits for a hospice bed. With just 16 of these specialty beds available in the city, many patients are left waiting in the hospital. Live tonight with the impact this is having is CTV's Joseph Bernacki. So, Joseph, what is this family going through?
Marilee, an 87-year-old woman is waiting for a bed. Her granddaughter is upset because a limited number of hospice beds is interfering with the final months of care, and she wants change.
People in Manitoba are waiting for a bed that doesn't exist.
As soon as Ashley Casson heard about her grandma's prognosis, she raced home from the Yukon.
She was given 3 months to live, so we've kind of just been wondering where we go from here. And
earlier this year, 87-year-old Lorna Teague broke her pelvis and was admitted to Grace Hospital. While she was there, doctors found a cancerous mass that had spread. With so little time left, it's clear to the family that Teague needs a hospice bed, but getting her end-of-life care may be a challenge.
Manitoba only has 16 total hospice beds in Winnipeg, and that's it. The recommended number of hospice beds is 7 to 10 per 100,000 people. So it's just pretty incredible and absolutely shocking to see.
The most recent numbers from the Canadian Hospice Palliative Care Association show that in 2022, Manitoba was dead last for hospice beds. They calculate the number based on population. The national average is 3.97 per 100,000 people, and Manitoba was just 1.15 per 100,000 people. The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority told CTV News there are 5 people currently waiting for a hospice bed.
For people who don't have much left to live, the fact that they're on a wait list competing for just a peaceful place to die with that many other people is pretty sad.
When asked for 2025 numbers, the WRHA said there are 16 hospice beds in the city of Winnipeg. A statement from the WRHA said in part, wait times for hospice care can vary, ranging from just a few days to approximately 6 to 8 weeks. Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care Uzoma Asagwara sent a statement saying in part, Manitoba now has a dedicated provincial team focused on palliative and end-of-life care, bringing together frontline providers and experts to strengthen care planning across the province. For Casson, regardless of the reason, the wait is heartbreaking.
My nana only has one other person in her room, but it's just, there's no privacy, there's no dignity. It's just inhumane how people are expected to spend the last few months of their life.
The family says they still don't know how long Teague will have to wait for a bed.
What else did the minister have to say about this, Joseph?
They said a new subcommittee has come up with a 3-year work plan to implement national palliative care standards, and that expansion is ongoing in other regions. They said what Casson is describing is heartbreaking.
It sure is. All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Police in Thunder Bay, Ontario have arrested a teenager suspected of planning a violent attack at a school. Police say the 13-year-old was communicating with someone online to conspire and help each other regarding a potentially imminent attack. Investigators believe the other person was in another country and may have also presented a threat to the public there. Thunder Bay police say the FBI and Interpol assisted with the investigation. Officers enforced 2 search warrants in Thunder Bay yesterday, and tonight a 13-year-old is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and counseling to commit an offense that was not committed. Police say the teen remains in custody. A Saskatchewan man is charged with murder tonight after a Winnipegger was found dead inside a home in Yorkton. Officers were called to a home on Victoria Avenue on October 7th, where a man was found deceased. He's been identified as 51-year-old Curtis Gilman Barassa from Winnipeg. Saturday, RCMP arrested 51-year-old Henry Wayne Chartrand, charging him with second-degree murder. Chartrand made his first court appearance yesterday morning. Manitoba Hydro expects to have power restored later today after thousands of homes in the north were left in the dark following a storm over the long weekend. As of early this afternoon, the Crown utility said about 740 customers were still without power after a snowstorm swept through the region. At its height, some 11,000 homes were without power. The updated timeline comes a day after Nasichiawase Cree Nation declared a state of emergency. It's located west of Thompson. The outage there meant several homes are without heat, forcing elders and other vulnerable residents to leave. It's now working with Hydro to have the power restored and to secure more generators from the federal government. The Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth says the province must do more to reduce the harm caused to young people from wildfires. Sherry Gott says children's health and education are hurt by fires, particularly in remote and Indigenous communities, which are more likely to be evacuated. In addition to breathing in smoke and missing school, Gott says studies show children exposed to wildfires are more likely to experience adverse mental health effects than adults. Gott's office is calling on the province to assess the full impact of fires on young people and to ensure mental health education and child protection supports are part of emergency planning.
We're concerned at the fact that the children didn't have right to didn't have access to an education. They also were exposed to many other issues in congregate settings. One of them being safety. People were crowded in those settings, and they were exposed to ongoing issues of substance use.
This year's wildfire season in Manitoba was the worst in decades, with 32,000 people forced out of their communities. The city's public works chair says most of Winnipeg's major road construction projects are nearly done, and some are actually finished. Janice Luke says the warm weather this season helped. CTV's Jeff Keel now on the number of projects completed and what's left.
For many drivers, it seems like construction season will never end.
Oh my God. Everywhere you go is so slow. I have to add an extra 15-20 minutes onto my drive.
Well, road construction's a mess everywhere. Slowdowns here, slowdowns there.
And it feels like no street is immune to lane closures and roadblocks.
Everywhere you go, there are barricades. And you got to drive slow or you're going to run into them.
It's been crazy. Yeah, very crazy. Everywhere we go, on every street.
The pain may be worth it after all. Public Works Committee Chair Janice Luke says a lot of the big projects are wrapping up or are completely finished.
Abinogi is almost done. Pembina Highway is almost done. Inkster is done. The St. Norbert Bridge is almost done.
City numbers show as of October 3rd, 35.2% of projects are complete. Another 7.6% are in the post-construction phase, meaning the main roadway is done. 49.2% remain under construction. Another 5.8% are in the design phase or the contract has been awarded, and only 2.3% will need to be deferred until next year. Lukes anticipates most of the ongoing work will get done before winter shuts things down, weather dependent.
Really, it was a good summer, so we're on top of it.
And while they may be a bit impatient and frustrated at times, some drivers say they know the repairs are needed.
Like, I understand it has to be done.
Absolutely, they are. We want a city that we're proud of.
These roads are in terrible shape. There's lots of potholes.
Well, our infrastructure is pretty old.
In all, these projects add up to nearly 164 lane kilometers. Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Beware if you plan on driving on the East Perimeter Highway over the next few days. Barricades are about to go up there as we speak on a section of the perimeter near Dugald Road. The province says construction crews are doing repair work at the rail crossing north of the Dugald intersection. A detour will involve crossovers between north and southbound lanes. This means just one lane of traffic in each direction will be open. You can expect delays, and you're being asked to slow down when you see construction signs and flaggers on the road. That work is expected to wrap up Sunday evening. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. What are you tracking for us tonight, Colleen?
Dry tonight, soggy tomorrow. There is rain on the way for southern Manitoba and potentially substantial amounts, especially if you are in areas closer to the international border. But other places like Winnipeg and Brandon will likely see some of that rain shower activity as well. I'll have more details on how long that will last and how things are shaping up condition-wise with respect to the Bomber game. I know a lot of folks heading out there on Friday evening. Hint, hint, it's looking a little better than it was 24 hours ago at this time. More to come on that. Let's take a look right now, though, first through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Cloudy and dry right now in the city. It's 11 degrees, winds 12 kilometers an hour coming from the south-southeast. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, merrily, is 68%.
Thanks, Colleen. The city is preparing to pay out $7 million to settle a trio of wrongful imprisonment claims. It has to do with the case of Brian Anderson, Alan Woodhouse, and Clarence Woodhouse, 3 Indigenous men who were convicted and imprisoned in 1974 for the murder of a Winnipeg chef. All 3 were exonerated in recent years. The Public Service says the money would be used to settle a suit brought forward by each of the 3 men, claiming false arrest, negligent investigation, and human rights violations, among other things. It adds the city is in talks with its insurance provider about coverage, but the payout is likely to be less than the settlement amount. The mayor says he intends to vote in favor of the settlement.
My intention right now is to vote in favor of that because that, that's what the courts have said, and so I think the city has an obligation to make good on obviously what the courts have instructed us to do. But first and foremost, we'll be having discussions with our city staff at the meeting.
The province and federal government are also named in the suit. James Lockyer, one of the lawyers for the men, told CTV News he's not able to comment on the proposed settlement. The Executive Policy Committee will vote on whether or not to approve the funds next week. Winnipeg's mayor is calling for patience when it comes to a crackdown on homeless encampments. This after a child was assaulted with a water bottle while playing in a park.
Understandably, we can't just bring in the motion one day, flick the switch, and have the enforcement the next day. We do need time for our bylaws officers to be working in coordination with police and others to, develop a strategy towards the enforcement. But the need has been there, which is why we brought the need for this. This kind of enforcement is there, which is why we brought in the rules.
Police say the child was playing with friends at a park in the Centennial neighborhood when a man at an encampment threw a bottle at him and chased him down the street screaming. The kids ran to safety and told a parent who called police. Officers later found a 27-year-old suspect at the encampment and arrested him. He's now charged with assault with a weapon. Gillingham says this incident is an example of why City Council approved a motion to ban encampments from parks and playgrounds, but says enforcement is going to take some time.
Understanding that, there's not enough housing available. People right now may need to stay in some tents overnight. But on the other hand, we're not going to let encampments be set up anywhere across the city anymore. And we're prioritizing right now that playgrounds, parks, near rail bridges, near senior centers, near recreation spaces, those are now off limits.
The mayor expects enforcement of the bylaw to come into effect in full force in November. Time may be running out for a historic piece of Winnipeg's past. The 122-year-old clock inside Portage Place Mall is caught in the middle of True North's multi-million-dollar redevelopment project. But as CTV's Dan Unger reports, heritage advocates are hopeful it will keep on ticking.
As the walls of Portage Place come down, the future of the iconic clock tower inside is up in the air.
It really is an important part of our history.
Heritage Winnipeg Executive Director Cindy Tugwell says to get the full story of this clock, you've got to go back in time more than 120 years ago to Winnipeg's old gingerbread City Hall.
One of the most iconic and photographed buildings in the history of Winnipeg's heritage buildings.
Installed in 1903, towering 105 feet high, this was the city's first public clock, guaranteed by its makers not to vary by more than 10 seconds a month.
It signifies a moment in time when Winnipeg felt it was really on the map.
Though the old City Hall was razed in 1962, the clock survived, eventually emerging nearly 2.5 decades later.
Portage Place is now open.
It stood in Portage Place Mall ever since, but now its time here may be running out. With True North launching a $650 million redevelopment project, Tugwell says Heritage Winnipeg has been working to ensure the clock ticks on.
We have nothing else from the Gingerbread City Hall saved, so this is all we have.
True North Real Estate Development tells CTV News while the clock tower was made available for repurposing, no expression of interest was forwarded to True North Real Estate Development. The company says it's now working with Heritage Winnipeg, adding the internal workings and clock faces will be salvaged and kept in safe storage for potential use with their guidance for any possible future projects to be determined. So this may be the last time Winnipeggers see the iconic clock for a while, but Tugwell is confident it will, one day, keep right on ticking.
There's a real recognition that these need to be kept, and we can wait patiently until there's possibly a new location and project for them to go to.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A city spokesperson tells CTV News the city is actively looking for a future home for the historic clock. The city is looking to use money from a federal housing initiative to turn heritage buildings into residential housing. According to a city report, a previously approved project that was to receive $2 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund has been withdrawn. Instead, the Public Service is recommending the money be given to Center Venture, who will match the money and put it towards a grant program for downtown heritage to residential conversions. It expects doing so will add about 150 units downtown. The proposal still needs to make its way through City Hall. Your water rates may not be going up by as much as previously thought after the city got funding commitments from the other levels of government for a massive infrastructure project. During yesterday's Finance and Economic Development Committee meeting, the Public Service said it can soon present a revised cost estimate for the biosolids facility at the North End Sewage Treatment Plant. This after receiving confirmation the funding will be split up almost equally between the city, province, and Ottawa. This will lower the debt burden for the city and subsequently for ratepayers. The total budget for the project is currently a little more than $1 billion. A new memorial is honoring the service and sacrifice of Winnipeg police dogs. The Winnipeg Police Service unveiled its Canine Memorial today, located at the Canine Building at the East District Station. A bronze sculpture named Forever Faithful stands at the heart of the monument in front of the 4 granite pillars, which are engraved with the names, badge numbers, and years of service of Winnipeg's police service dogs.
Handler and dog form a team that protects our community in ways few can fully understand, tracking suspects, rescuing the vulnerable, detecting threats, and standing strong in the face of danger where others cannot.
It took 9 years of community fundraising to finish the project. Since 1971, more than 78 police dogs have served with the WPS. Still to come tonight, a casualty of the trade war.
We have to do everything possible as a country to protect these jobs.
Outrage in Ontario after a major car manufacturer says it's shifting thousands of jobs south of the border. But Canadian officials say it's not over yet. That story when we return.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil dropped 43 cents. The Canadian dollar is nearly unchanged. Gold futures added $38. The TSX gained 283 points. The Dow Jones lost 17 points, while the Nasdaq ended the day 148 points higher. Manitoba Public Insurance is reporting a net loss of nearly $20 million for the 2024 fiscal year. That's actually a significant improvement over the $129 million loss it reported the previous year. The total number of claims rose by about 2%, but the Crown insurer says it was offset by gains to its basic insurance, extension, and special risk inspection lines of business. The end-of-year report comes as public hearings get underway for a proposed rate hike. The Crown Corporation is asking the Public Utilities Board for a 2.07% general rate increase and changing the minimum deductible from $750 to $1,000. Provincial politicians who retire, lose the election, or leave their seats don't walk away empty-handed. According to a Legislative Assembly report, last year's biggest severance check went to the former premier. When Heather Stephenson resigned in the spring of 2024 after 23 years in provincial politics, she received a $96,000 severance payment. Under provincial law, the former politicians are given severance to help them transition out. The amount all depends on their tenure. In total, during the 2024-25 fiscal year, more than $400,000 was paid to exiting MLAs of note. Those payments total less than 1/3 of the $1.5 million issued the year before. More details can be found at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. The federal government is hoping to speed up the adoption and training around artificial intelligence with a new funding commitment. New Media Manitoba is set to receive more than $2.3 million to help integrate AI into its facility. It's expected the money will support 77 new jobs, as well as help train 100 people and dozens of small and medium-sized businesses in the use and commercialization of AI.
I think there's already been cases of people using AI to really reduce mundane tasks and things that may be routine, and sort of that aspect of it being that they can really reduce time for those activities and focus on more strategic activities that would add more value and productivity to their business. So we're already seeing a lot of that.
New Media Manitoba's executive director adds today's funding and the wider integration of AI will have benefits beyond the tech sector. He expects other industries will see the benefits in the months and years to come. Donald Trump's tariff war has hit home again and hit hard. Tonight, there's word Stellantis, the multinational automotive company, is planning to pack up production of the Jeep Compass in Ontario and move it to Illinois. The timing, not ideal for an already unstable Canadian auto sector. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more on how Ottawa is responding.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly wouldn't specify exactly how, but the federal government is considering legal action against Stellantis.
We will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account.
A letter from Melanie Joly to the company's CEO identifies legally binding commitments the car company made in the past as part of a deal with Canada and Ontario.
We've invested millions of dollars in that facility based on the commitment that they would be investing in a new model. And so that's why, if they don't do so, we'll hold them to account.
Ontario's premier is also digging in.
I'm not going to give them a penny because it was tied in to making sure Windsor and keep Brampton going.
Doug Ford says the head of Stellantis told him yesterday they were going to find a new model for the Brampton plant and move 1,500 workers to the one in Windsor. In a statement, Stellantis said Canada is very important to us, adding, "We have plans for Brampton and will share them upon further discussions with the Canadian government." But Doug Ford believes the car company is shifting $13 billion in investment to the U.S. because of trade uncertainty triggered by President Donald Trump.
That guy, President Trump, he's a real piece of work. You know something? What my message to the Prime Minister when I meet him on Thursday is if he can't get a deal, let's start hitting him back.
Canadian vehicles to grow our auto industry.
Prime Minister Mark Carney campaigned on standing up to Trump. However, in recent months, Canada has removed most counter tariffs on U.S. products except steel, aluminum, and autos. In a post on social media, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre claimed the Prime Minister sold out workers and let their jobs move to the U.S. The minister responsible for trade with the U.S., Dominic LeBlanc, returned to Washington on Monday. He's working with Canadian negotiators to continue talks with their American counterparts on trade. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
To the Middle East now, where Israel says the Red Cross has received the remains of 2 more hostages that were to be returned from Gaza under the terms of the current ceasefire agreement. 4 other bodies were returned late yesterday, but Israeli authorities said that one was not that of a hostage. 4 bodies confirmed as hostages were also repatriated Monday. Today's Israel's defense minister instructed the military to prepare a comprehensive plan to defeat Hamas in Gaza if the war is renewed. And in the Gaza Strip, the health ministry says it has received 45 more bodies of Palestinians from Israel. A number of Red Cross vehicles thought to be transporting the bodies were seen in central Gaza. They were heading towards a hospital in the southern city of Khan Yunis. So far, a total of 90 bodies have been returned. Israel is expected to hand over more bodies, but officials have not said how many are in their custody or how many will be returned. Trucks loaded with aid were seen moving across the southern Gaza Strip today. The Egyptian Red Crescent said at least 400 vehicles carrying food, fuel, and medical supplies were bound for the territory. Meanwhile, Israel has resumed preparations to open the main Rafah crossing. It had threatened to continue barring entry, saying Hamas was returning bodies too slowly. An Israeli official said 600 trucks would go in. The United Nations says 600 is a good base, but it is not enough to meet the scale of need. Back here in Canada, Albertans are getting new license plates.
This is in the national anthem. This is mentioned in speeches from every person from every political stripe, and is also our provincial motto. It's actually sort of odd that this wasn't on the license plate to begin with.
The plates will replace the slogan Wild Rose Country with Strong and Free. Premier Smith unveiled some of the proposed license plates today. Albertans will have a chance to participate in a tournament-style online vote to help select the winning design. The winner will be announced next month. Walking and biking just got a little easier in one Winnipeg neighborhood. We'll tell you where. You have a new trail to explore just ahead.
And it will be a soggy couple of days ahead for Winnipeg and a lot of other places in the south. But as for the game, I know a lot of folks are wondering about the Bomber game. It looks like the rain will taper off in time for the game, so that's good news. But it will still be a little cool, a high during the day of just 12 degrees, so be prepared for that. We get into the weekend, a high of 10 Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud with a low chance of showers. Drier and slightly warmer Sunday, up to 11. 10 again on Monday, low chance of showers, a mix of sun and cloud. And then back to Tuesday with a mix of sun and cloud, dry conditions with a high of just 8 degrees.
Expect to see some people decked out in green around town this week. Our biggest CFL rival, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, are coming back to town, and they often bring a few fans along with them.
Pressure coming in. Calera, they got him. Ball's out. Riders have it, and Caleros is down.
Yeah, remember that hit that knocked out Zach Caleros? Well, Winnipeg hasn't had much luck against the Riders this season, losing both the Labor Day Classic and the Banjo Bowl. Saskatchewan actually sits in first place in the West Division, while Winnipeg is in fourth. Head coach Mike O'Shea says despite an 8-8 record, Bomber special teams have really come through.
It's not just our return game. I think our cover teams have done a great job too. Our kickers have done a great job. Our punting and kicking and our cover units have done tremendous. So I think it's an overall, the special teams as a whole for us has been a good phase, a very good phase.
Bombers host the Riders at Princess Auto Stadium Friday night. Gates open at 6. Kickoff is 7. This week's Winnipeg High School football action began with a trio of JV matchups last night. Hosting Sturgeon Heights Collegiate won this matchup against Windsor Park Collegiate 28-6. Brandon's Crocus Plains Secondary won 52-19 against John Taylor Collegiate. And Vincent Massey High School won 28-20 against River East Collegiate. Families in Windsor Park now have a new trail to explore.
2-1. There we go.
Officials cut the ribbon at Winacqua Community Center to launch phase 1 of a new Pathways project. It's a new asphalt path connecting Winacqua Community Center directly to Windsor Park Collegiate. The path then connects to other trails that lead to an outdoor classroom, a community garden, tennis courts, and a baseball diamond. It's hoped by connecting the community, residents from different backgrounds will all feel more at home.
This is a way that we can get them to know that this is their community. This is their space. Come walk around. Come enjoy the space. It's for the community to just enjoy. Sit and read a book.
This phase is budgeted at $220,000, funded by the federal, provincial, and city governments. In the future, the Pathways will expand even further and complete a looped trail.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, Colleen Brady back now with an update on that rain she is tracking.
It looks like it's going to come in a couple of rounds over the next couple of days, Marilee. Now, Environment Canada at this point, in a very general sense, talking about southern Manitoba, forecasting 10 to 25 millimeters, but parts of the southwest over a 48-hour period could see as much as 30 to 50 millimeters with this approaching system. Now, it's expected to develop in the coming hours over the northern plains in the U.S., and it's going to move quickly further north into Manitoba. So we're going to get the rain here in the south. Now, for the next few hours, pretty dry, but as we get into the overnight hours, that's when things start to get going. You'll see here in the southwest first, likely you'll see some rain tonight, more likely than not, put it that way, in places like Brandon, even as far north as Dauphin. And don't be surprised by an overnight thunderstorm in the southwest. As for Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, well, as we get into more the early hours of tomorrow morning, during the commute, we'll likely start to see that rain and those showers start to come through. Winnipeg and the surrounding areas for now during the day, it looks like we'll see 5-10 millimeters. But again, this is going to be a fairly prolonged rainfall event lasting a couple of days in a couple of rounds. We get into the afternoon and it looks like it lightens up rather a little bit across the south, more so here in the southeast, but you can see to the east and northwestern Ontario, you'll be getting some pretty substantial rainfall with this as well. Meanwhile, you notice not much happening further north. It will be much clearer, especially as we get into a Thursday evening. You can see across the northern half of the province. Meanwhile, that rain re-intensifies as we get into Thursday night, overnight into Friday. Now, it lifts, and hopefully, as I mentioned, the bulk of this will have gone through by the time we get to kickoff on Friday evening for the Bomber game. For tonight, there is a slight chance we could see some showers as far north as Winnipeg. 8 is the low. Light winds out of the south at 10 kilometers an hour will get even lighter overnight and into the commute tomorrow when rain or showers are likely to get going. Up to 9 for the commute time, and then a high of just 11. So the temperature doesn't move much tomorrow. And again, 5-10 millimeters of forecast for Winnipeg and for the areas closer to Winnipeg. Up into the northeast tonight, a low chance of showers in places like Island Lake, Thompson, Gillam, otherwise cloudy right around the region. Overnight lows, a bit of a variance. 6 in Island Lake, but cooler, closer to freezing for the rest of the region. Thompson down to 1 degree. Slight chance of showers in Gillam tomorrow morning, otherwise a mix of sun and cloud. Churchill, sunny most of the day, a little windy too. You'll get a little cloudier in the afternoon, late in the day. Thompson, you'll get more sunshine into the afternoon, a high of 7 there. Cloudy tonight across the northwest, overnight lows just above freezing, 2 degrees in most areas, 4 for Norway House. Speaking of Norway House and Norway House Cree Nation, there's a slight chance you'll see some showers in the morning. Otherwise, it should be dry. Highs around the region between 8 and 10 degrees. In the southwest tonight, as I mentioned, Brandon, Neepawa, maybe perhaps even up into Dauphin. You may see showers overnight, more likely for Brandon, about a 60% chance. But again, watch for thunderstorms overnight there. Down to 4 or 5 degrees for most regions. Showers continuing tomorrow for those areas further south, like Brandon, down to up to 11 tomorrow. Winnipeg in the southeast, best chance of showers showing up overnight is around Portage, Morden, and Winkler. And those areas closer to the international border, like Morden, Winkler, you could see 10-15 millimeters come through tomorrow. Double-digit highs tomorrow around the region. Fog overnight in northwestern Ontario. Overnight lows between 4 and 7, and then the rain moves into Kenora and Dryden tomorrow morning. Highs between 11 and 14 degrees. Our first weather photo takes us to Arness, Manitoba. Arlene says she loves the fall, and no wonder with beautiful photos like that one. And this next one is from Ruby. This is on the Saugeen First Nation along the North Shore. Send us your weather photos by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
The CTV Skywatch Pick of the Day is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
A surprising indicator of healthy aging may be right in the palm of your hand, literally. What grip strength can tell us about a person's health and longevity? Just ahead in Medical Watch.
Tonight, a demand for answers.
How the hell did that get into New Zealand?
An innocent young man dead from meth disguised as Canadian beer.
You have the right to remain silent.
Arrests in New Zealand, but W5 is on the hunt for the Canadian criminals who exported the drugs. W5 investigates tonight on CTV National News and ctvnews.ca.
As many major Canadian cities see home prices slip, Winnipeg's housing market remains strong according to the latest home price update and forecast from Royal LePage. And to help us break down the findings, Michael Fraze, managing broker with Royal LePage, joins us now. So Michael, tell us, what is the latest? How much will an average home set you back here in Winnipeg right now?
Well, right now, for the third quarter, our numbers are in, and the average sale price for a residential single-family home is just over $450,000, which is up roughly 2.8% from where we were at the third quarter last year. But the important thing to note here as well is that it's sort of we've seen a plateau effect compared to the second quarter, where we usually see a lot of our price increases in that first and second quarter. Our prices have tempered down since those peak months of spring.
So would you still define it as a seller's market?
But you know, you have to really go neighborhood by neighborhood. In broad strokes, we are still technically in a seller's market. We're less than 3 months of inventory, which means if it would take 3 months to eat up all of the inventory if nothing else came to market. And that's indicative of a seller's market, but it really goes neighborhood by neighborhood, price point by price point. As an example, if you are in that average, around that average sale price right now, $450 and under, it's very competitive, most likely a heavy seller's market. But as you typically tread north in the price points into certain neighborhoods, you get a bit more selection, a bit more choice as a buyer. So it really is dependent where you go in neighborhoods and price point.
You know, we heard a lot of concern about tariffs and the impact they would have on housing. What do these latest numbers tell us about the impact we're seeing here?
Well, tariffs, it's that T word again that we've been saying for the entire year, and Manitobans just react differently to this. Our economy reacts differently to the tariff threats. Now, no doubt there's been, and kind of will be until we get things really settled, a certain cloud of uncertainty. But you saw the major markets, Toronto, Vancouver, this report shows they've had tumultuous years in real estate. Their market's completely dried up. They're the lowest in sales, prices are dropping, and we just didn't see that at all this year. So our sales have outpaced last year's sales consistently throughout the year. Prices have come up as well. Now we have a seasonal softening, but so we've just haven't really listened to the national headlines as far as tariffs go. But again, there is always that cloud of uncertainty that's lingering around as long as Twitter remains, and we're always one tweet away from having the world change. So.
When you look to the next quarter, did the numbers tell us anything? Is there a forecast you can hint at, or prices continue to climb, or should they hold steady?
Yeah, so we're going to continue the trend that we're going to outpace last year. So we're predicting that our fourth quarter of this year is 4% an increase in average sale price over last year's fourth quarter. But again, it's important to understand, the seasonal patterns as well. So, will prices in December be as high as they are today? Probably not. We typically see a softening in the winter months, right? Right now, we have a bit of a flurry of activity. People are trying to get in homes before, winter comes. And as long as, that winter holds off, please God, hold off. As long as it holds off, we're going to, we'll see activity kind of remain strong through the fall months here. Usually prices hang on, maybe even uptick a little bit before they soften in the winter months. And then we get back into our spring pattern. So that's what we're expecting to see, and it is, it's boring to say, but Winnipeg kind of behaves like clockwork with our seasons come every year, no matter how much we don't want them to, and so our market it corresponds the same way.
It seems like it's the trickiest for those first-time home buyers right now. They're the ones, in that very competitive market. Any advice for them?
Well, there is some good news. I mean, it has been tough with rising prices, but right now affordability just increased. We had rates lower and our prices have plateaued, which means it just became more affordable. So that's some good news. But the most important thing for a first-time buyer is get a good plan and get a good team around you. So make sure you have a great plan, get a great realtor, get a great mortgage broker that you can trust, that they can guide you through these different markets. Because again, there's markets within markets and sub-markets. So really that expert guidance is super important. And then really, I always say, even in the months where you have a bit more selection in the fall, have a patient aggressiveness. Wait for the right house. Don't just take any house because, it's there or because a parent tells you to buy it. Wait for the right place. But when it's there, you got to act quick and make sure that you go in aggressively. So have that real assertiveness to home buying, because it's not, right now it still is competitive, in that, especially in that first-time buyer market. Can't tiptoe into it.
Michael, thanks for the advice and the insight. Always great speaking with you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
A new study suggests feelings of loneliness can take a toll on your physical and mental health. A recent Public Library of Science study took a look at how loneliness affects health and found it can lead to an increased risk of depression and other emotional issues, as well as poor physical well-being. Feeling emotionally disconnected or isolated hits harder for some than others. Women and adults over 45 who feel lonely are a lot more vulnerable to depression. If you've been feeling lonely for a long time, joining a community program, group activity, or social club can help. But talking to a family member, doctor, or therapist is a good first step. A firm handshake is more than just a confident way to say hello. It's also a surprisingly strong indicator of just how well you're aging. A growing body of research shows weak grip is linked to a higher risk of falls, fractures, cognitive decline, and several chronic conditions. One study in the journal Clinical Interventions in Aging found grip strength was a better predictor of physical ability and longevity than blood pressure. Grip strength seems to reflect the health of multiple body systems, including the muscles, nerves, and heart. Experts say if you have enough strength to grasp and lift objects easily, it's likely you're able to move and live independently with ease.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
But first, they need a little help from the crowd. Get ready to belt out your favorite Queen tunes when this show comes to town next month. All those details just ahead in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Absolute Britney, a tribute to Britney Spears.
The Great Outdoors Comedy Festival is returning next summer for its 6th year, and one of the headliners was just announced.
I just don't know how to be an adult, dude. The carbon monoxide detector was going off yesterday. I just took the batteries out of it. So we'll see.
Comedian and actor Matt Rife will take the stage Sunday, July 19th during the festival at Assiniboine Park. Rife started on the comedy circuit when he was still in his teens and has since appeared in some Netflix specials and TV shows. The Great Outdoors Comedy Festival runs July 17th to 19th. Weekend passes are already on sale, while tickets for the Matt Rife show will be available starting Friday. Well, if you love Queen, you also know you sometimes just can't help but sing along to Queen, and that's actively encouraged at a show coming to Winnipeg next month. Choir, Choir, Choir is more than a musical duo. It's a music project that blurs the line between audience and performance. November 17th, they're bringing their latest tour, We Will Choir You, an epic Queen sing-along, to the Burton Cummings Theatre. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster. A Winnipeg writer wants you to help write the story of our city. Winnipeg Poet Laureate Jennifer Still has launched a citywide poetry project, and you don't need any experience to take part.
You do need to notice things around you, and I think we all do that, and that's a way we engage with our city. And if you notice something, if you care about something, or something's concerning you, you can do this.
It's an opportunity to write your own unusual Winnipeg poem. Fill in the blank tiny books help guide you through your writing. Pick up one at your local Winnipeg Public Library and drop your submission into special library mailboxes.
There's a map of the city on the outside. It's an old streetcar map, and that opening in the center is almost like Portage and Main, you know? Like, we just opened it up. But when you open the center of a single page, you can fold it into 6 pages that turn.
You have until December 1st to submit. The poems will be collected, read, and shared as part of a citywide mini book installation. Learn more by visiting the Winnipeg Art Council website, winnipegarts.ca. Beat the Midweek Blues with some great entertainment starting at 7 with Shifting Gears. Next is a double shot of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Catch up with The Amazing Race at 8:30, and at 10, it's The Floor. All right here tonight on CTV.
Still ahead, tried and true. This year's top Halloween costumes have been revealed, and they include plenty of old favorites.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
11 degrees right now in Winnipeg, cloudy, winds out of the south-southeast at 12 kilometers an hour. That's a bright billboard there. Warmer today. Lowest temperature stayed well above freezing, 5 degrees. The highest, though, just 12, but that is a little bit above normal. Normal now for this time of year is 10 degrees. Low chance of showers overnight, 8, but by the commute tomorrow morning, much more likely we'll see either an outright rainfall or those more intermittent showers. 11 is the high, and then we'll see temperatures rise by morning to 14 Friday morning. Then they will level off a bit, 12 during the day. Showers, they should wrap up in time for the Bomber game, and then we could see some rain on Saturday morning. Less likely, but more not often than not, we'll see. Or what I'm trying to say to you, Marilee, is that it'll probably be dry.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, finally tonight, Halloween's top costumes for 2025 have been revealed, and number one this year for kids, Spider-Man. This is all according to an annual consumer survey. In the U.S. alone, more than 2 million kids plan to dress up as Spider-Man this year. Second on the list this year is a princess. Number 3 is another old standard, a witch. Then Ghost comes in at number 4. And by the way, the most popular dog Halloween costume, it's a pumpkin this year.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all old staples.
Oh, yeah, you can't beat the classics.
Yeah. Probably have some of those in a closet somewhere you can reuse. I like that.
Let's go
with the cost of
them.
everything these
That's
days,
right,
yeah. Get a sheet. There's your Ghost. All right. Looking forward to seeing them all on Halloween night. Have a good one.